Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. I'm Bob DeMarco. Coming up, we're going to take a look at the new Pepper Wool Merino MM. What is that? It's a cool little micro knife. Next, we're going to take a look at the new 2024 Microtech Ultratech, which I was commissioned to buy for my wife's cousin. It just came in. I'm going to have to hand it over to him, but it's a sweet one. And a random knife giveaway. Tonight, we're going to be giving away this right here, this CJRB Tigris. Big cleaver blade with a super thin blade. This is probably about as slicey as it can get for a pocket knife. We're going to be giving this away thanks to Dave of OG Blade Reviews. Thanks very much, Dave. We'll also check out the new Gentleman Junkie giveaway knife. That's next week's giveaway knife. And then, of course, we're going to talk recurves. I say Recurves Rule, and I want you to prove me wrong if you think so. And I don't want to hear about the stones. I don't want to hear about the sharpening situation. I think that's a non-starter. All you have to do is get the right kind of rounded or triangular stone, and it's not an issue whatsoever. So let's talk about the blade shape itself. I think it's awesome. Marco, good to have you here, sir. Evening, Bob, Jim, and Junkies, he says. Marco, from one DeMarco to another Marco, it's good to have you here, man. Reverend Jim Lander, nice to have you here, Reverend. He says, hey, Bob, Jim. Hey, Bob, Jim, and all you junkies. The weather here is sharp, but I'm sure your knives are sharper. Oh, I like that. Yeah, we're having some nasty weather too. Cold and rainy, but it's about time, man. It's fall. It should be cold and rainy. Stepped outside before we rolled here and had a little smoke on the pipe. It was very nice. Though the daughters didn't want to kiss me goodnight. Have a nice day. Good to have you here, sir. He says, good evening, Junkalos. Worked during the day and just finished a 5K at the gym. Now for knives. Yeah, you are no joke, sir. A 5K after work, like it's nothing. James Hart, good to have you here, James. Evening, all. I hope everyone is well honed and with no rust spots. Ooh, I like all the sort of analogies and, well, plays on words we're having. Pete Davidson, good to have you here, Pete. Good day, Bob, Jim, and the rest of the mob. How's it going? It's going great here. Rainy day here, so I'm acid washing and sharpening some knives covered with earphones. Uncover with earphones. Undercover with earphones on. Well, it's good to have you. You do have to do that stuff probably outside, right? But you still have a cover over you. So you're in the great outdoors, but you're not getting rained on and you're not trapped inside with fumes. That's a good thing. Doug Bowl, nice to have you here, Doug. Hello, Bob. Received the Thursday Night Knives giveaway knife. Thank you again. Oh, my pleasure. Thank you, sir. The Edwin Forrest Bowie is on its way. Ooh, that's cool. I had never heard, well, I guess I had heard of it, but didn't know what Doug was talking about when he said he had a Forrest Bowie. I looked it up and I realized I have seen them and they are very cool. Bark River Knives did a version of it, and it's apparently the knife that Jim Bowie had on him when he was fighting on the sandbar, the famous sandbar fight. Craig Vincent, nice to have you here. Hola, Bob and Junkaroos. We got Junkalos, we got Junkaroos, we got just straight up junkies. Well, nice to have you here. Have a Knife Day says, hit that like button. And you know what? I concur. Hit the like button. Doesn't cost you anything. That's it. Stephen Clayton Jr., nice to have you here, Stephen. Good evening, everyone. He says, coffee and knives. Indeed, coffee and knives. I have no coffee. I have a little dram of whiskey, and I have my trusty thing of water. It's got to stay hydrated because I don't want that whiskey to come back and bite me in the morning. Paul Mills, nice to have you here, Paul. Bob DeMarco, he says, and I think that's clapter. Clapter, that's half clapping, half laughing. I call it clapter. Robert Von Darth, nice to have you here, Robert. Howdy, tribe, he says. Well, howdy to you, sir. Looking buff. Kraken Tactical, nice to have you. Recurves are king. This is a guy who knows what he's talking about because many of his models are recurved, and beauties they are indeed. Have a Knife Day says, I was invited by the U.S. Army Ranger Association to march with them in the upcoming Hollywood Christmas parade. How cool. What an honor. Trying to shed a little bit more weight to fit comfortably into my BDUs. I would imagine the weight you need to lose is probably, not that much. Have a Knife Day says, in 6 months, I've gone from 236 to 215. Well, congratulations, man. That's pretty good. 21 pounds. That's good. We could all probably stand to lose a little bit of weight. myself among them. It would make the pants feel better when I have bigger knives in my waistband. You know what I mean? Sometimes it gets snug. That's probably why I've always resisted carrying a pew pew on the daily, just because having it in the waistband is, man, I don't know. I haven't been able to get used to it, though. I do have a pretty cool shoulder holster that I've been taking advantage of. Pete Davidson says, don't know if it counts, but I love my Emerson Matriarch. Why would that not count? Just got to watch the tip. Very fragile. Okay, so I'll show you. Where the heck is it? It's lost in a sea of knives here. Oh, here it is. It's Matriarch-esque, we'll say. It's in the same spirit. Northern Knives, nice to have you here. How's everyone tonight? He says. We're all doing great. How you doing? How's the northern weather treating you up north there in Alaska? This here is the Black Talon, very similar to that S-shaped recurve that you see on the Matriarch and the Citizen and all those cool Spydercos. Yeah, this is a recurve. This is a double recurve, if you ask me. Why? Actually, now that I think about it, I guess it's a single recurve. Robert Strebin, nice to have you here, Robert. Good evening, Bob, Jim, and all you junkies. Of course, you see what I have here on the table. This absolutely beautiful gin from Turner CNC. This is this belongs to Jock. It will be heading back. It'll be heading over to him shortly, and along with the Adobado. I think that's what it's called. Another Turner CNC, but that is one of the most beautiful recurves. But that's not what inspired tonight's conversation. What did was in my pocket, and I'll show you that shortly. You're also noticing this beautiful leather mat here. This is absolutely stunning work, and it's by a very generous and talented listener named Kenneth. I'm not sure if I should say his whole name, so I won't. But in the future, if he says it's okay, I would like to, because he does not have a business yet with this, but he could. And hopefully at some point he does. But he does beautiful work. And I'm really excited that busted old piece of suede was great, but this is way, way greater. Plus it has the logo and the website here. Very, very nice. And a beautiful knife sitting atop it. I think we saw Dave there. Was Dave this old? Dave, you are always this old sword to me, but you're also OG Blade Reviews. OG Blade Review says, hey, y'all, just flew back from Charleston. Very nice. Great vacay, but I had to pop my head in the proverbial door to say hi to the great and powerful Bob, Raging Bull. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I will take that. It's good to have you here, Dave. Charleston is one of your favorite spots, if I'm not mistaken. I think you've been there. I think you vacated there before. I seem to remember that and thinking, man, Charleston, I need to check that out. I need to check out the South more in general. Robert Von Darth says, recurves. I have a few Chesapeake bayonets. I'm unfamiliar with that word. Chesapeake bayonets. We'll go with that for now. Inspired by the Yatagan. Okay, I know what you're talking about. I've seen those before, yet have a cool feel to them. The inertia seems to assist in blade cutting alignment. Sweet Black Talon will be my next purchase. Thank you. I love that. This knife here is this Turner CNC is very similar to a Yatagan, also with that shape. So beautiful. And I need to see one of these bayonets, but I remember seeing in some museum somewhere, or maybe it was in my weapons book, recurved bayonets, and wondering, wow, who's carrying those? And those must be pretty effective. Pete Davidson says, how many Junkaroos have two different edge finishes on their recurves, like toothy on the bottom and fine out front? Oh, that's interesting. That's a good thought. I never thought to do that, but it would make sense to have a real toothy edge on the back, especially on something that's not recurved. But since that's what we're talking about, but I could see how having the two different edge types would be very useful. Five Door says, greetings, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Recurves are fantastic. Awesome. Well, what are your favorite recurves? Five Door, let me know. Isaiah Ramirez, nice to have you here, Isaiah. Hands down, a nice new mat, especially with the Junkie logo. Thank you. Thank you. I say thank you like I did it. I didn't do it. I just have the good taste of putting it forward for you all to see. But yeah, Kenneth is a real gentleman and scholar and quite talented with the leather. Benedict Doty, nice to have you here, Benedict. Evening, Bob. He says, well, evening. Right back at you, sir. Doug Bull, Bob, can you give your understanding of an actual recurve blade? Can you give your understanding of an actual recurve blade? Well, actually, to me, this is a perfect example. So, belly lower than the Ricasso, and to get to that low belly, you first have to curve up and then down. Totally unscientific definition, but that's what I would call a recurve. Now, this is a recurve also, but it starts with the belly and recurves towards the tip, aiding the front in puncturing. See, these are puncturing, ripping, tearing, all that. These two are kind of opposites in a sense. You will see that omitted from this list and these selections are things like karambits and Pikal style knives that just have a hawkbill blade. That's a beautiful recurve, real deep, great recurve that in the Spartan here from Cold Steel Knives. This one always had a tough lock. I was carrying this one when my first daughter was born. I do remember I was like, had that in the hospital just in case someone tried to make off with my baby. Isaiah Ramirez says, I need me a budget folder with a Persian blade. Might like to get the CJRB Gobi or the CRKT Persian. Oh, well, that CRKT is about as Persian-y as it gets. It's almost circular. It almost comes back on itself. It's so curved and designed by the great Alan Foltz. That is a very cool knife. I've never gotten it. Obviously, you've never seen it here, but I've always admired that knife. It's just a little too upswept for me. Autumn Wind, nice to have you here, Autumn Wind. Hello, all, says Autumn Wind. Well, hello to you. Yes, we are experiencing the autumn wind tonight, along with autumn rain. It's funny because coming home from work today, I had to come home a little bit early, take care of some family matters, and when I was done, I was like, I have a whole bunch of mail that I like burning it now. I always take it to work and shred it, or I have a shredder here. It's just loud and obnoxious. But now that I'm into starting fires in fire pits, I'm looking forward to burning more and more and more. That's the last time I had a whole bunch of documents. You know how you kind of, I don't know, I get stuff and I save it like I'm going to need to call upon it. I have never, ever in all my years of adulthood had to call upon the paperwork I saved for 7 years. So I've stopped doing that. I got that advice from my brother, but he's in his line of work, he needs to do that. So yeah, for me, burning. So the autumn wind and the rain and all that stopped me from doing that, which was a bummer, because I would have liked to go out there and see if I could start a fire in the rain, but it was just coming down too hard. James Hart says, I suppose my 6 kukri blades count as recurve. Oh, hell yeah. Maybe one of the originals. Or definitely one of the originals. I'm regrettably low on recurves, says 5-Door. Fire Tack is easily my favorite at the moment. That Fire Tack, I remember really being underwhelmed by it the first time I saw it. And then I saw the recurve version and it all kind of just fell into place. And that is a very, very subtle recurve. Luck Knives, good to have you here, sir. What up, he says. Well, what up with you, sir? An American Father. I got your email from, I think you sent it to me last Friday, and I'm sorry I haven't responded. I've been trying to, but I love what you sent me, and it's been on my mind since. And I will be emailing you, probably not tomorrow, seeing as how hectic it is. But I have thoughts on what you sent me, and I have people to reach out to talk to about this. Actually, someone pretty big in the industry wants to talk to me about that. So I'm gonna forge ahead with that. And who knows, you may have sparked something. And I know a lot of people are thinking the same thing. So great to have you here, American Father and American Father. Jesse, evening all, he says. Evening to you, Jesse. Don't let that crow pluck out your eyes. Pat D's Nuts. How you doing, Pat? Hello, all. Off to work. Miss my Thursday nights with my junkies. Hashtag knife. See you soon. That's right. Okay, so great reminder from Pat D's Nuts that if you want to win the awesome CJRB Tigris, which, by the way, is also quite beautiful, not recurved in the least, but a really, I love the handle color and combo and all. It's like an overlay G10 under. Let's see, steel liner, G10, and then a G10 overlay here, all sculpted and cool. Really beautiful backspacer here. Aluminum, and then great access to the lock bar. Great guard, so you're not going to slip up on that blade. But who's thrusting with this thing anyway? But the real star of the show is that big, broad, space age looking cleaver blade. It's so thin. I don't know what the thinness is, but it's wickedly thin, and then so broad and almost a full height hollow grind. It's so damn slicey. I don't have paper here, but trust me, it is. So on bearings, super smooth. Hashtag knife in the comments. This could be yours. Jay Demeter, nice to have you here, Jay. Aloha to all. Here it's blowing 30 to 35 gusts, up to 50. Damn. Out there in beautiful Hawaii. Pete Davidson says, I have a Viper Magna recurve. The recurve part is sharpened to 300 grit while the forward portion is 2000 grit. Pete, is that something you did? And why? Why? I'm interested. I always just kind of use the same stone across the entire edge of all my knives, or I'll use varying grits and such, but I'm never stopping halfway and then starting a new one. Split and slices. Good to have you here, Byron. And thanks for the tip. Byron sent me a really cool tip on a knife that is luckily not in my wheelhouse in terms of size, because it's an actually affordable custom knife from an amazing maker. Okay, I'll say it, Peter Carey. But yeah, thank you, Byron. I appreciate it. Howdy, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Thursday Night Knives, he says with an exclamation mark. Recurves and cleavers. Oh my. Well, which one do you like better, Byron? A recurve or a cleaver? They're kind of opposites there. Tatamius. Wait, let me hang on. Tatamius. Is that right? Tatamius? Accent on the second syllable. Tatamius. Recurve knives or bows? Oh, well, yes, is the answer to that. But I'm talking about recurve blades. But yeah, recurve bows. Yeah, indeed. Those cool Mongol bows that are kind of short but super recurve, and they shoot it while riding with incredible skill. Those are incredibly powerful. Pete David says the Viper Magna is a great recurve with a central point that can also be made double edge if you're handy. I will have to check out. Getting everything together for this show, I realized there's a real dearth of recurves in my fixed blade collection, which must be remedied sometime in the near future. Roman M, nice to have you here, Roman. Hey guys, he says. Well, hello to you. Welcome. And let me know what you think about recurves. Split and Slices says 3 best budget kitchen folders. CJRB Tigris. I could see how, man. The Civivi Hid. I'm not sure what that one is. And the Hibben Cleaver. Fight Bob D. The Hibben. I like Gil Hibben, though he went way too fantasy for my pleasures. But his early stuff was so cool. Gil Hibben was a practitioner of American Kempo Karate under Ed Parker, the founder of Kempo Karate, and he was training along with and at the same time as Mr. Elvis Presley, who by all indications was quite a badass in more ways than one, I guess. Jacob Green, nice to have you here, Jacob. I'll match your 50 mile per hour wind gust and raise you a California wildfire. Oh no. Oh, that sounds awful. Awful and scary. Awful and scary. There's a painting by Cy Twombly, who a lot of people just think is a scribble artist, and I guess he kind of is, but he was like the original, maybe. And there's a in the Cleveland Art Museum, he's got 3 giant canvases, and they're all about the Iliad, and one of them is called the fire that consumes all before it. And I always thought that was such a cool title. And it's, I guess it's just about the Greeks in that war. And yeah, your 50-mile-an-hour wind plus that kind of California wildfire. Oh my God. Well, please be safe. I'm not sure if you're having a one right now, or if you're just saying you have a lot of experience with it. In either case, stay away from those fires. Will B, nice to have you here, Will. Evening, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. I love my recurves. Norseman, Arbiter. Oh, that's the fixed blade recurve Bowie, right, from Microtech. Amphibian, got my amphibian out. Dart, Nova 1, just to name a few. Oh, I didn't even think to pull out the Nova 1. That was stupid of me. But yeah, I this was one of the first ones I grabbed because this, not that the love of recurve ever went away, but this was so exciting when I got this this past year for its recurveness. And I love the Microtech serrations, and then put it on the recurve, and it's like triple duty badness. Jeff W., good to have you here, Jeff. Good evening, gentlemen. Station 9, number 12 undercover on the way. Can't wait. It's kind of recurve. Is that the one that's double edge, that it's like a Fred Perrin collaboration? It's got the hole in the middle. That thing is so cool. And then the top edge is serrated. Ridiculous. I love it. Jay Demeter says home slice sharpens similar. Home slice sharpens similar. Rough on one side and fine on the other side. High cutting on sisal rope. Yeah, I guess. Who's home slice, by the way? Who are you referring to? A and B. Sisal rope. Oh yeah, you don't want like a real smooth edge. You want something with teeth to dig in. Otherwise, even though it's wickedly sharp and you could do some sort of a pressure cut, you want to be able to saw through what you're cutting, because that's the real nature of that blade edge. It's little tiny serrations, and then when they get knocked out of true, they're not biting. Or if you take it and you sharpen it so much and strop it so much, I did this to a lot of my knives at one point. They were all super sharp and polished, but they cut paper great, but they didn't really grip onto much to cut. Doug Bowl says the ski and do I purchased is classified as a day or working dube. Has a Damascus blade. Do you find this metal difficult taking a sharp edge? No. No, I don't have too much in the way of Damascus. And the one that I have that is that the only one? If I have more than one, it's a very few. The one that I have is from Hogtooth Knives. That's my fighter, my sub-hilt fighter. And I've never had to put an edge on it, but I've always wondered if one blade steel is more or less tough, or has more, better edge retention or not, if that would make the edge weird. But I asked about that. I've asked a number of people that, and apparently not. But I don't know. I'm sorry to say I don't have too much experience on it. So maybe ask other people here in the chat. That was my long way of saying I don't know. Maybe I should just say I don't know. Luck Knives says my Norseman and Ron Best are my only recurve knives. Ooh, Ron Best. Now I know a few. I know I've seen a few Ron Best, but I know his reputation precedes him. I wonder what that recurve looks like. Jacob Green says we just got over a mountain fire. Geez, or the mountain fire. I dodged it just by over a mile. Holy mackerel, Jacob! Thank God, man. Hope you and your family stay safe, man. You never know what's going to happen, do you? Jerry C. Good evening, all. Jerry, good to have you here, man. Is that your upside down strat, or is that Jimi Hendrix? Jay Demeter says Maui. Liliana burned to the ground and no children were ever found. Jeez, that's terrible. So I know a lot of people think that was a conspiracy, or that was done on purpose so that certain wealthy people who have big talk shows could buy up land there. How do you feel about that? I don't know. It's just something I heard, but I heard there was a lot of effery going on for that fire. Robert Von Darth, Recurves Rule, nerd alert. Nice. The French 1840 bayonet is the recurve blade or yataghan style blade, which was based on the North African yataghan sword. Incidentally, another knife that was based on the yataghan is this, the cold steel vaquero blade. Now, I always thought it was based on the Navaja. And I think I thought that because when it first came out way back when, before the handle was the newer handle, newer meaning it came out in 2006. So the real old one had that sort of horn-shaped handle of a traditional Navaja, but it had this shaped blade, or a little different, but basically this, which does not look like a Navaja blade. Navaja blade looks like a Spanish clip point because that's what it is. But Lynn Thompson said yataghan was the main influence in this design, and I love it, and I love that. I would love to have a real yataghan and have it up on the wall here. Todd Carr says, for me, the steel I'm sharpening generally dictates the edge I put along with the heat treat. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I know that. Well, lots of people have this knowledge, but I hear Jared Neve talk about that a lot because he's a professional sharpener and all that. Certain steels are better with certain kinds of edges. Northern Knife says, I'm a big fan of recurves. We, Three Dog Knife, make 3 of them. You make a recurve Tonto, don't you? That's a whole other level of cool. An American Father says, it has been my experience that Damascus knives perform poorly in the field. Why is that? Why is that? Is that a heat treat issue, or is that because 2 different steels you have to compromise a number of different things to get that look? It's Jimi Hendrix, the greatest, says Jerry C. Okay. You're second, though. That is a cool shot. I always loved his upside down strat. You know that who is it? I was just watching someone play bass, a relatively famous person playing bass, and he was lefty, and he had it strung with the high E on top, just like he took the bass and just flipped it over, didn't restring it or anything. He had all the strings reversed, and he was playing like it was no big thing. And man, it was a cool thing to see. Craig Vincent says, Bob, I watched your recent dusting off the skills video. I saw what you did to the Bob dummy. Dang, last time I saw that many fast moves was during my last colonoscopy. Craig, thank you, sir. I will take that. Now, I watched it back and I was like, oh, man, it felt so much cooler. It felt so much smoother. It felt so much better, Well, that's what happens when you don't, I don't train regularly anymore. So those are perishable skills. Now, what I have learned over years and years of doing martial arts and then going away for a little while and coming back and that kind of thing, usually it's not the skill that goes away for me. It's the conditioning and the wind. I got to build up the conditioning again, got to get the wind back up again. And of course, you do, of course it is perishable. You do lose, but if you can still practice and go smooth and slow, anyway, it was fun to do that. And thanks for not making fun of me. I know that plenty did. Some people just put laughing faces and stuff. I'm like, okay, thanks for your contribution. Jay Demeter says he is a YouTuber under the name Home Slice. Okay. Did the 2-side sharpening on the Cedric and Ada, did the cut test. Oh man. I love that guy. And the way he tests knives, but also his sense of humor, really excellent. Pete Davidson says, we are in for a wet summer down here. We had floods the other day. Oh, I'm sorry about that, man. I'm going to have to stock up on Diddy oil to keep all my carbon steel rust free. He might be needing that for prison. Rusty Hawk, good to have you here, Rusty. What a coincidence. I've been looking for a recurve short sword recently, eyeing the RMJ Wyvern. Any other suggestions? Why, yes. I mean, that wyvern is beautiful, and it's, you know, modern. Now, what I have here is a Filipino. Let me set this down. What I have here is a Filipino recurve sword. This is a talibang from traditional Filipino weapons. There's the maker's mark. So Ron Kozakowski, he's a friend of Dave, OG Blade Reviews. I'm not sure if Dave trained with him, but Dave has trained with a lot of the best guys out there. Anyway, Ron Kozakowski started this company years back where he employs bladesmiths down in the Philippines. Here, let me bring this over here. Let's see if there's enough to fit. He employs bladesmiths in the Philippines, and they make modern versions. And I'm not saying modern interpretations. I just mean they're just modern, but they're in all other ways traditional. Modern meaning contemporary, made today, with the wooden sheaths. And you know, the Philippines, blade, hugely bladed culture. They have so many different blade shapes and different kind of knives for different uses that they have a whole bunch, and so many of them are recurve. And this is light and fast and super sweet, very sharp. But I got to say that wyvern is a beaut. Very beautiful knife, and I do like RMJ quite a bit. So I'm going to set this out here for a second. But this one I waited for a long time. This was out of stock for a long time. I think they have the La Rote or La Hotte or something like that. It's kind of like this, but a little bit smaller. But very recurved and pointy and nasty. Mark Salva, good to have you here, Mark. I have to admit, the only recurve that lights my fire is the Gurkha Kukri, and my if you need to slash, recurves are the answer. I love my black talon. Yeah, you know, yes. Slashing, I think chopping too. They accelerate it chopping. You know, that edge is there way before your hand is doing the work. And yeah, like kukris are great for chopping, slashing, even thrusting. And I say so because when you thrust with a sword like this, that's so heavily recurved, you have to do very little to get the point where you want it to go in terms of wrist. You're not like putting your wrist down and compromising your grip with a weird wrist angle. Ouchie EDC, good to have you here, Ouchie. I have skills at eating perishables. That's good. Yeah, I do too. Oh my God, my wife just made one of my favorite pastas tonight. So good. So if I belch here and there, let me know. Let me tell you that it's a good experience on my end. James Hart says the surf guitar player Dick Dale learned how to play guitar upside down and strung backwards. Wow, that's cool. He played one of those baritone guitars that, or I don't know if that's what they call them, but the longer sort of bass guitar, but not a bass guitar, not a 4-string, but didn't he play one of those? I love the way those sound. And was he the guy who did the music in, or whose music was used in Pulp Fiction? This Adder Bites, good to have you, this Adder. Hello, he says. Well, hello to you, sir. Hope all is going well. James Hart says the Scottish Ski-and-Do is the Scottish equivalent of the EDC knife. I have several since I used to wear a kilt. They are also for eating and other daily chores, like throwing at your adversary. So do you still wear a kilt, A? And B, did you ever see Nuttin' Fancy back in the day would go to Salt Lake City? I think he was in Utah, and he had a buddy there who had a sharpening shop and made knives, and he wore something he called a tactic kilt. It was like this big leather kilt with a giant belt, and he had knives and all sorts of like pirate crap hanging all over him. But it also had like cargo pockets, and it was kind of cool. I was like, I am not Scottish, not even close, but I don't know, it looked comfortable to me. And you know that if someone's wearing a kilt, they can probably back it up. That's the way I've always looked at it. Because you could see someone, you know, oh, you're wearing a skirt. What kind of a guy wears a skirt? The kind of guy who's about to kick your ass and then gut you with my ski and do. Okay, we're giving away a knife. I want to show it off again because we're already 35 minutes into my yammering, and I've only shown it once. A cool thing I noticed about this is the curved clip. That curved clip. Do you wear khakis? Do you wear dress pants? Do you wear any kind of pant that isn't jeans, that doesn't have the horizontal pockets? This kind of curve is going to do you right. So very cool knife. AR RPM 9. Proprietary steel to artisan cutlery, and CJRB, as you may know, is the artisan cutlery budget brand, if you will. Maybe not budget is not the right way, but artisan is Lexus to CJRB's Toyota. How's that? Really, really awesome knife. So hashtag knife in the comments section. Just hashtag knife, or you could say, hey Bob, how you doing? Hashtag knife, or whatever. You just have to put hashtag knife. It's that hashtag that when Jim goes to put this into the hopper so that we can choose a winner, it's looking for hashtag knife. So you got to put the hashtag in there, which I know I've said this before, but hashtag is pound, so it's kind of funny sometimes if you replace hashtag with pound, you get some funny things like hashtag me too, pound me too. It totally changes the entire meaning of that to the exact opposite. So it's kind of funny. That was something that my brother mentioned to me. My brother and I have well, what do you say? We have senses of humor that we prefer not to let the world know about when we're together. I mean, it's like, anyway, so there you go. If you have a brother, you probably might know what I mean. All right. All of that said, let us now get to a pocket check.
What's in his pocket? Let's find out. Here's the Knife Junkie with his pocket check of knives.
Speaking of artisan cutlery, in my front right pocket today, I had the artisan Banjara, designed by Dirk Pinkerton. He's the current podcast right now. So if you like his knives, he's been on a couple of times, and we always have a great conversation. And I just love his work, and I think he's a stand-up dude. Also, I mean, really, really great guy. But this, of course, is based on the sort of Middle Eastern Persian style blades. But also, we came to the conclusion it's also kind of a clip point if you look at it, starting from here. This was the knife that if you're at Blade Show, you saw all over the place on giant posters. And it is that good. S90V blade steel, so sharp. This knife is wickedly sharp, and but not a recurve. This is not the one that inspired me to talk about recurves tonight. I did use this to open up a box today, but that's about it. In my clam chowder. So I used it for a couple of real light tasks. Opening up a box that contained another knife. However, it's not my knife, but I'll be showing it to you shortly anyway. Beautiful titanium frame lock with sculpted titanium clip. Really nice texturing, and I like it on that curve. I like how that looks. Great opening hole and flipper. So I've been carrying a lot of flippers lately, or knives that you can reverse flick as well as flip. And this one I just had been not ignoring, but just hadn't carried in a little while. So I was very excited to put that in my pocket today. Ooh, I love this mat. Thank you, Kenneth. Thank you. And look, I put a little tiny scratch in it, and that's going to happen. That'll start happening more and more, and then it will patina, and then I'll feel, even better. And I know he said some of this shine that's reflecting my circular light there, that will also kind of wear off a little. Maybe I should. I took the light down one notch. All right, next in my left pocket, dangling in my left pocket, was the Victorinox Compact. Though it's not my favorite Victorinox, it's my go-to these days. And I've said this many times, it has everything to do with this little eyeglasses screwdriver. Because though I don't wear glasses here because I don't need them because I'm close to my monitor, I wear glasses, all the time, to drive and just to live, walk around and that kind of thing. Just not when I'm face to face or close with people, talking with people. I usually take them off. Though, since I've gotten my progressives, those are basically bifocals, except a little slicker. I don't have to take them off as much. But this knife also has so much to it, and it's only a 2-layer Swiss Army knife. So it only has 2 layers of tools, but it has the large blade. It has a excellent pair of the large scissors. It's got now I haven't seen this one before. I think they have this on a few other models, but it's a combined cap lifter / can opener / wire stripper. But and also the tip of it is great for, just this tip right here is great for Phillips screws, and then of course you have a flathead screwdriver. So this little tool has 5 different uses. Another cool thing about this is that it has the typical tweezers and toothpick here, but it also has a pen. And if you watch videos on Victorinox knives, you'll see people have all these corny ways. I mean, they work. I don't know why I'm calling them corny, but have these very interesting ways to hold this ink. You know, you can put it in this little slot here where let's see. I'm going to pull this off screen for a sec. Make sure that that's the right thing. Yeah, you can kind of rest it in the slot where that hook is, the parcel hook. Drop the hook on it and you can kind of hold it. I say. Well, it's not working here on camera. I know I've gotten it to work before, but I think that's kind of unnecessary. You just use it with your hand. So just the typical red Celador handle, and it's got a lot of tools on it for being such a regular kind of little compact Swiss Army knife. So I had this in my front left. Now this is the knife that inspired tonight's conversation, and it's a small one. This was my fixed blade today, and I did have paracord on it. It was in my waistband. I took it off before. I don't like paracord all over the table. Stuff gets dragged around and pulled off. But this is the Auxiliary Manufacturing. That's Michael Jarvis, his company, the Auxiliary Manufacturing Pocket Bowie. It's got this really, really great coffin-shaped handle that is so comfortable. It's small. I'm sure for most of you, it's a 4-finger or a 3-finger knife. For me, I can get 4 on there, right there, or if it's in reverse grip. But it's very, I don't want to say crowded, but there's no there's no extra handle there for people to pry it out of your hands if they can get to it. But I love that really abrupt and subtle recurve, and I love the shape of the blade. It's so sharp, so sweet, and that orange and green handle is so fetching. He has a large version of this that's pretty cool. That's going to be coming out soon. And then he's also put a number of different blade shapes on this platform. So now there's like a spear point, single edge spear point. There's a Warncliffe, and I think he does a little recurve drop point and something else. But I'm looking forward to getting more auxiliary manufacturing knives. I think he does really excellent work. I know a lot of people would agree with that. So very happy to have this in my pocket, and really is so small, but I was thinking of how wicked it is. It really is quite a wicked blade. And part of it has to do with that recurve. The other part has to do with the fact that that handle is totally neutral. So I could have it in this pick hall style grip just as easily as the standard ice pick grip. I'm sorry, Jim, you had a comment up there that I ignored. What was that? And then last, I had, for emotional support, my ESK today was the Aries from Orion Knives. And man, this is so sweet. I love this knife. Really beautiful design with that center line point Tonto with the drop point and the dual grind. So it's got a very thin hollow grind on this long straight, and then a flat grind right up there at the tip where it counts for penetration, you know. Very, very, very sharp, 14C28, and 2 ways to open this. My favorite way is with that awesome fuller, really excellent fuller, running the length of the blade and sharp shouldered, so you can dig your fingers, your thumbs. You can slow roll this out, actually. Here, I'll use my gimpy thumb. So you can slow roll, you can do all sorts of stuff. But the star of the show here is that button lock right in the center of the pivot. And it kind of works a bit like a compression lock. So you can kind of see a leaf in there, a steel leaf. You push it in, that moves the leaf out of a notch in the tang of the blade and makes it fall. Really nice sculpted titanium pocket clip. G10, very comfortable, very neutral handle, and nice. Something I like about this is the very great, the excellent way it's set up for reverse grip, either Pikal or standard. It just has a great handle for that. That, by the way, that knife, Orion Knives, go check it out at Orion Knives. It's under $100 and it's so good. It's really, really good. So go check them out. See what you think. All right. This is what I had on me today. What'd you carry? Let me know. Let me know. This is the time. This is the place. Let's talk about it. So does anyone fiddle with or fidget with knives in the car? I know I know you do. But I will remind you that if you're driving in a car and fiddling with your knife, or you have it just out of your pocket and you have anyone else in the car, you should probably take that knife and put it somewhere where if you get in a wreck, it's not flying around, because you would never forgive yourself if something like that happened, either to yourself or even worse, someone that you're driving around, because they didn't sign up for that. I've kind of tapered back a little bit on my knife fidgeting while driving. Probably a good idea. Donald Fry, nice to have you here, sir. Howdy, everybody. Sorry I'm late to the party. You're not. You're fashionably late, and that's cool. That's fine. I love the drop shutty nature of this thing too. David Cam, Blade Banter channel, and he is the man behind Orion Knives. Very, very cool. And that's their logo right there. The belt of Orion, the 3 stars. James Hart says, yes, I know the tactical kilt. Oh, I have one, but my traditional kilt no longer fits. Yes, that is why we carry many knives. Dirk Skiandu, maybe a small axe or sword. Ooh, yeah. Yes, a basket hilted sword. Those are so cool. Those Highland basket hilted swords, where the lattice work hilt fully encapsulates the hand. There's like an opening on one side, and you just reach in. There you go. You have it. And then they would wrap the inside of it with velvet. It's so beautiful. I need to get one. I need one. It's a moral imperative. Pete Davidson says, hey, Bob, do you have any experience with Paul Chen Hanwei swords? I do not. I have a repro German trench knife by them, and it seems well made. Their swords look unreal, just out of my price range. No, I have a passing. I at one point had a passing interest in them when I was in a big sword phase, and I remember looking at them on some website. I don't remember where, but no, I do not. Alakai Torres. Good to have you here, Alakai. I'm new to knives, but #knife. Yes, sir. You are new to knives, but #knife. So this, hopefully you get a chance to, well, you do have a chance, and I don't want to wish that you get this over anyone else, but you being new to knives, that's great to know. And some people like you have had a lot of luck on these random giveaways. I've never win anything, or I'm just brand new, or I just caught this channel. So who knows? Maybe beginner's luck is with you tonight. But new to knives, that's awesome. The funny thing is you probably aren't new to knives. You probably had a pocket knife at one point, or several. Kitchen knives and all that, but now the scales have fallen from your eyes and you see how beautiful and awesome they are. Ghost Keeper. There's a really good song called Ghost Keeper that I used to hear a lot on Groove Salad. Very, very cool song. Look it up. Ghost Keeper says, carried the new Vosti Schillen cutter Vancor lock, and the Kaiser Bulldog. Okay. That's the green one, right? Yeah, that Schillen, man, that looks really nice. Schillen cutter is a traditional Chinese folding knife with a leaf-shaped blade that's kind of angled downward. Again, that it's not a recurve blade, but that downward angled blade, even if it's straight, kind of what's the word? Kind of does the same work as a recurve because of the handle to angle there. Just got the Kaiser Titanium Sparrow in today for $80. Crazy good deal. Congratulations, Ghost Keeper. That's cool. But that's what the hell is the name of that Schillen cutter? It's funny because I'd never heard of Schillen cutter until that knife came out. And now I can't remember what that knife is called. Anyway, Pete Davidson says, kilts and sarongs are a great men's attire. I don't know if I would want to grapple or high kick in one. That's funny, Pete. I used to wear a sarong back in my bachelor days, and not out in public. But like, I lived in New York City in a lot of apartments without air conditioning over the years. And I found that if you're just hanging out at home, a sarong with nothing else was so comfortable and it kept you cool. And the funny thing is not that long ago, I was talking with my daughter and that came out, that little detail, just we were talking, and ever since then she's like, God, I didn't know you were such a hippie. And she likes to call me that, hippie, because you wore sarongs, and there was something else I used to do. Oh, and I was a vegan at one point, a vegetarian for a long time for a girl, a vegan for a short while for a girl. I know. I was living in New York City and all that implies. No offense to those of you who are there, like, because a lot of cool people there, but it did give me a little mind virus at the time. And but anyway, yeah. So your hippie host will move on. Stephen Clayton Jr., our resident TKL knives expert and enthusiast, says Rem A Scourge, TKL Agent 001, 2, and 3, the Raider, the Taylor's Ridge, the Combatant, the TS-87, the FLN, the Guardian, the Night Guard 2.0, right? That's what NG stands for. Every week I say that, and then I always wonder, that is what that stands for, right? The Night Stalker Combat Grade. That Night Stalker is the one that started it all for me. So cool. Such a great knife. The Nighthawk, the Striker, the Accomplice, the Gideon 3, the Piranha. I'm getting the meat sweats. Wingard Wearables, Micro Dick Pic. So cool. That's a great, I mean, you have them all there, basically. You need the Sapper, Stephen. And I don't know if you own the Sapper and just find that it's too big to carry. That very well could be the case. But of all the people out there, you should carry a Sapper, because that's a beautiful recurve blade. That's one that I want very much. That was a collaboration with TKL Knives and Imre Morgenstern, and he's a former IDF guy. I guess he's a current IDF guy again, but he did a lot of ordnance disposal and designed that Sapper with the name, because the Sapper is a guy who blows stuff up, right? With of all these different little details to help people who are, say, lying on their belly in the sand, poking around looking for landmines. So really, really interesting knife, and just beautiful to look at and hold in the hand. I think it'd make a great fighting knife too. James Hart says, well, I have danced to a World War II era band wearing my kilt. It was breezy. I bet. World War II era band. Michael Upchurch, good to have you here, Michael. What's up, guys? He says, how you doing, Michael? I hope the world is treating you well, sir. Titamius says, favorite EDC knife. Which one? Wait. Now, okay, you can't expect me to remember something I was talking about 30 seconds ago. I don't have that kind of bandwidth. No, Titamius, first of all, let me know how to pronounce your name. Put it phonetically. I like knowing that. But also, what is your favorite EDC knife? I'm curious now, because it's something that we were just talking about. Perhaps it is the Tigris from CJRB. And if it is, just put #knife down in the comment section, and we're going to get to this shortly. There's, there are not too many people putting their name in here. We have, let's see, we have like 37 right now. Oh, I think it was a question, said Jim. My favorite EDC knife. Okay, thank you, Jim. Okay, I cannot tell you that because I don't have an answer to that. But in terms of like right now, these days, I got to say one of my very favorites these days is the Kami, another recurve blade. This Kami is also from Artisan Cutlery. It's also a 2024 release designed by Dirk Pinkerton. So he had these two come out this year, the Banjara and the Kami coming out from Artisan. This one is really, really, really excellent. It's super thin, full flat ground, recurved. In this case, it's got the titanium pork stained titanium. Micarta handle with the titanium frame lock. There's micro milling here too, by the way, on that chamfer, which is so cool. And these are Pinkerton chamfers. These big broad chamfers make it feel like it's contoured, but all the flat surfaces also stop it from twisting in your hand. There is another version of this. This has S35VN. There's another version of this with S90V, one of Dirk's favorite steels, and an all titanium handle. And it's awesome and cool, but I like this one better. I prefer this micarta version. So I've been carrying this a lot, Titamius or Titamius. I'm going with that. I've been carrying this one a lot, and I very much recommend it. And it can come to you at 2 different price points. So I would definitely check that out if you're interested. And I'll have you know that pork makes a great die for micarta. I have a XM18 with a micarta scale that I cut ribs with, and it took it from a light kind of dusty maroon to a deep maroon for a long time. And then eventually, I think all of that pork grease worked its way out of the handle and into my pockets because it kind of went back, but after a long while, to that sort of more dusty heather looking micarta. James says, so did I go out today? So I did go out today. In my EDC bag, I had my Swiss Army Deluxe Tinker. Oh, very nice. And my old school Gerber multi-tool with full-size jaws that can be opened with one hand. I had, a long time ago, I had a Gerber multi-tool. My mom and dad got me and my brother one for Christmas years and years ago. And I remember this one had like two like buttons on the sides, and you just kind of did that, and a sort of gravity knife effect. The handle would drop, and then the pliers would protrude. Pretty cool design, I gotta say. James Hart says, in my pocket was my old friend, the Cold Steel Voyager Clip Point XL. You don't say, James. Great minds think alike, sir. This is my carry since I got home tonight, because that's what happens. I come home on Thursday. I empty out my Thursday carry because I know I'm going to be showing it off later, and I do a little wardrobe change. It's funny, I went for this tonight. So again, we have harmony and resonance in the knife community. Jay Demeter says, my carry is the Best Tech Swordfish. That's cool. That's the very first Best Tech I ever saw, I think. In Magna Cut, just put a polished edge. Ooh, nice. Yeah, I think the Swordfish was one of their very first models, but they've been kind of reiterating it because it's still popular. Isaiah Ramirez says, hobo sack with a Turner CNC sandbag inside. Oh, I'm liking what I'm hearing, but I'm not exactly sure what it is. What's a hobo sack? Is that one of those zippered change purses where you put heavy stuff that you can use like a sap? With a Turner CNC sandbag inside, used as force. All I got to do is read on, and these questions could be answered. It's like my wife says, you don't read anything. Well, I'm reading a great book right now. Doesn't that count? Sandbag inside, used as a force multiplier, and my new S-Doc EDC. I think it's SDOK. Oh, I see what you said. SDOK EDC is a small fixed blade. Reminds me of a steak knife. Ooh, very nice. Very nice. I have this this little Fin Light from BPS Knives, little Puko. I dyed the handle. That's why it looks like that. But I was just sharpening this before because I put a little ding in it and just was thinking about how much it looks like a steak knife and how a knife is a knife. And oftentimes it might look like the kind of knife you're not intending to carry. But I mean, how much different is one knife from another? Incomplete thought. I'll get back to it. But yeah, I know what you mean. Steak knife. And do you remember the Tops Knives steak knife? I missed the boat on that one. Split and Slices says, Carrie is the Kaiser Elgon Fixie, Tonto in D2. My July 4th Olight O-Knife full pouch carry. Kudos, the Knife Junkie. That was a cool knife. That O-Knife, what was the name of it? But very cool button lock, sheep's foot with the American flag anodized in the handle. Very, very nice. Rubato 2. Oh, there it is. It's the Rubato. See, again, read on. Pry flashlight, Otical multi-tool, Cattleman cutlery trapper. I need to check out Cattleman cutlery. I do. But I like that you have the full thing, full pouch full. Doug Bowl says, Bob, you carrying a blood blister on your left thumb? Yeah, that's from raking leaves. I don't rake too often. Just try to do it just once a year. The house I grew up in, we had 2 acres. Some of it was woods, but a lot of it was treed yard. So every fall it was like raking leaves. And at the time, I begrudged, my folks for making me do that. And now I feel bad about that. They asked so little of me, and now this is what I say of my girl. They asked so little of me, and yet I'd be like, oh, we have to rake. And here, what am I doing? I'm standing outside, in now what I recognize as a beautiful lawn, like tucked away, no traffic, and like it was an ideal little situation. And I just turned my nose up at it. I don't like raking. Have a Knife Day says, I'm feeling the spike hawk on the wall. I'm feeling the spike hawk on. Which one? Oh, this one. Oh yeah, Elmer Rouge. This is a really, really nice one. Very, very light too. Elmer Rouge is a very famous tomahawk maker and forger of. I think he does hammers too, maybe. But check him out. He had a couple of 2 models come out with CRKT. At this point, I'd say 5 years ago. The Chogan, I think, was his. Chogan and another one. But yeah, this is a great one. This is like full-on fighting Northeast woodland tomahawk, As you can see the Iroquois walking around. Iroquois? Right? They use these. Yeah, love this thing. Todd Carr says, Leatherman Surge plus accessories. Gerber Diamond Shard, Swiss Army Knife Fieldmaster, Cold Steel 8010. Swiss Army Knife Fieldmaster. I'm not sure I know that one. Cold Steel 8010, Tucson TS223, Finch Stinger, 5th pocket, TKL Knives Nighthawk, Olight I3T, and Arkfeld UV. Rovi Von A3, and Forrest Hank. Nicely rounded out EDC there, sir. Paul Mills says, I carried the Carbon Buckhorn and my Aries EDC Bloom today. Oh, I don't know either of those. I need to know what those are. Aries EDC. That sounds good. It sounds good because Aries. What can I say? Oh, speaking of Aries and Greek mythology and that kind of thing, I just saw a trailer last night for a new movie coming out. Of course, I can't remember what it's called, but it's starring Ralph Fiennes and Juliette Binoche. Ralph Fiennes plays Odysseus. Juliette Binoche plays Penelope. And this is once he's come back after his 20 years at sea trying to get back, or 10 years at sea trying to get back from the Trojan War, which he's there for 10 years fighting the war, almost 9.5 years. And then he takes 10 years to get home because of he pisses off Poseidon by killing his well, Polyphemus, the what do you call it? The Cyclops, which is one of his sons, and then that's it. It's going to be a long time coming. But this all takes place once he gets home, and Ray finds, man, this movie looks so good. And that movie Troy, I thought was a disaster. Though I like parts of it, and if I'm spinning through the channels and it's on, I'll watch it for a while. But I was really kind of bitter about that movie when it came out, because I was really in the throes of my time reading those books, and I thought it was just cheap Hollywood pap. Anyway, Craig Vincent says Cold Steel limited edition titanium 8010. Woo, that's a beauty. Serrated Vaquero, SR1 Tonto, Frenzy 2, Carve. Which one is the Carve? That's one of the new ones, right? That's one of the new ones. EDC size with the Atlas lock. Kiradashi, love that one. Mini Pendleton, Kaiser Phoenix, Manganus Purple Haze Caimano. That's funny. I just saw a note on my desk that I need to get in touch with Manganus. And Fred Perrin, Ladakh in Black Micarta Necker. Very nice, man. Very nice. Nicely varied too. I know you have a soft spot for Cold Steel, but there's a lot of other cool stuff there too. James Hart says, yes, I have a Scottish basket hilt broadsword hanging on my wall. It's a good sword. I like the way you say that. It's a good sword. Yes. Take this into battle, son. It is a good sword. An American Father says, Stretch 2 XL, CRKT Foltz neck. So is that the, spear point. So that's the, what do you call it? Minimalist, right? The Rat 7 Cutco 1886 slip joint. The Rat 7. What the hell is the Rat 7? I know of the Rat 3 and the Rat 5 and the Rat 6. I didn't know there was a Rat 7, but I like it because it sounds like it's got a bigger blade. Bando Picks. Nice to have you, Bando. I have a Marlowe White Marine Corps sword. Ooh, nice. So that sword is that the Mamluk? Is that what they call it? Based on the scimitar with that cool handle. Not with the D guard, but with the cross guard. That's very Middle Eastern looking. Humphrey Chimpton. Nice to have you here, Humphrey. Microtech LUDT3. Very nice. CJRB Ruffian. Also very nice. Hashtag knife. You could have another CJRB in your pocket if you hashtag knife and are successful. Jim, would you mind just going back to that last one real quick? Microtech. Oh, LUDT 3. How do you like the 3, Humphrey? I'm curious. And have you ever experienced, or do you have the 2? When the 3 came out, I rushed to get the 2. I've always wanted one and never did. And then when I saw that they came out with the version 3, I was afraid I would miss out on getting it too. That's why I have a purple one. That's pretty much all that was left. But I love it. It's so awesome. And I like the color too. Doug Bull says, Bob, I'm a big believer in keeping things secured in your car. When I was an officer, a drunk driver nailed my squad car and my flashlight knocked me out. Holy cow. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Doug. This is just confirmation of something I've always kind of thought about. Like, I don't even like my, I had nothing on the front seat. I always have, but I'm always, not always, frequently driving around with piping hot coffee. And I sometimes think about that too. Like, what if I got hit? And not only am I experiencing the physical trauma of the impact and all that implies, but I'm getting hot coffee splashed on me. That would just suck. No end. Will B says, ZT, Will, if I haven't greeted you, hello, man. Hope you're doing well. ZT 0308. That's beautiful. That's the last cool ZT as far as I'm concerned, until these last 2 that just came out, the auto and the fixed blade. Protec California Custom Knife Show Mordax, the Microtech Amphibian, the Wee Ziphius. That's a beaut. Microtech Hera 2 Recurve, Bastinelli Red V2, Heretic Slight, and I don't know the Heretic Slight. I'm not sure which one that is. And the Olight Baton 3 and Karis Bolt V2 pen. Very nice. All right, in 5 minutes we're going to be giving away this knife. So you have 5 minutes to put #knife in the comment below. So this will come with the box, and it came from Dave, OG Blade Reviews, so it's in pristine condition. Even if you don't want this knife, the holidays are coming up. It might make a good gift for someone you know. So even if this is not up your alley, you still might want to win it because you could keep it, stash it, and then give it away as a gift. #knife in 4.5 minutes. Stephen Clayton, yes, NG is night guard. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure because I say that every time. I have the Sapper. Oh, it's in my car bag. Ooh, yeah. Very nice. I love that. I don't know why I don't have it. I do know why I have it. Every time it's available, I'm either in a cheap phase or I don't have the money. Gotta spend it on other stuff. Will be, oh, I forgot my Sapper 2. Didn't carry it, but I love that thing. Very nice recurve on that. Stephen Clayton Jr. says, I forgot. I have the TKL Mercenary on me too. Which one's the Mercenary? That does not even ring a bell. Mercenary. Makes sense, though. I mean, with his naming conventions and such. Pete Davidson, been waiting all week to tell someone, I gave my boss a Kershaw Emerson frame lock. After a month of using the frame lock, snapped off while opening. Jeez. It had an easy life and failed easily. Jeez, oh man. So yeah, one of those Emerson. That's a steel frame lock too. That's pretty busted. Well, that's pretty bad. Pete Davidson says, I was so embarrassed. I gave him an O-Knife Drever as its replacement. Oh my gosh, man. Yeah, that Drever is cool. We just gave that away not too long ago. That's a good knife. But yeah, that is embarrassing. Here, this is a tactical knife. Look, see this? This is a steel frame lock you're dealing with here. You reinforce the lock with your hand and blah, 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 and then snap. Oh, that's terrible. Also, there's no lock stabilizer on that and no over travel device on that. So I wonder if that has anything to do with the price of tea in China. James Hart says, the bands that would entertain the troops, whatever those shows were called, USO shows. USO. James Hart. Yeah, it was the USO World War II era band. Oh, cool. I love that stuff. We weren't just listening to Glenn Miller, but we have a mix of music that's acceptable at dinner time. A lot of it is jazz, a lot of it is old school, and we heard I can't remember what it's called. The real famous one. Anyway, I'll spare you. But yeah, I love that. I love that old music. And my father-in-law, may he rest in soul, may he rest in peace. He had a song he loved. The Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy of Company B. And so my girls love that too, because they love their papa and he would play that. And so whenever that comes on, they know the words. It's so cool because like that's a song that could be all but lost, in another generation. And here they are carrying it on. I love the look of that Kami, says Will B. There are only a few of Dirk's designs I don't care for. Yeah, me too. Like only a very, very few. And I own one of them, but I still like it. It still actually has, and it's the little Gambit. It's his cleaver blade. And it's more that I just don't care that much for cleaver blades than it is his design. But it's a very great little, EDC. It's just not as, cool as his other stuff, in my opinion. Will B says, I had the same Gerber multi-tool until the police confiscated it when I was in high school. Oh, that sucks because I had it in the school along with a Gerber Easy Out. You got expelled for that? Jeez, Will. That's crazy, man. Come on. Yeah, but they probably let other people get away with other stuff much worse than some cool person walking around with a multi-tool. James Hart said, yes, my old Gerber multi-tool has the 2 buttons, but I can also flick it open with a flip of my wrist. I had it for more years than I care to think about. Well, that's a trusty Gerber, and that's maybe that's not so easy to find. maybe I shouldn't say that. Pete Davidson says, no over travel stop on the Kershaw. It should be on every frame lock. Yeah, no doubt. It not only, especially if it's the kind that, let me see if I have one here, but not only does it, like, I'm not talking about just this kind where it's kind of hidden, but if it's the plate, like on the hinderer, it also stops it, stabilizes it from compressing too. Texas Farm Road. How you doing, Texas? Good to have you here. Tonto's Rule. Okay. Recurves Rule. I knew that was coming. Okay. What do you say to this, Texas? You know what I'm doing. You know exactly what I'm doing. Yes, a recurve Tonto. What do you say to that? Do you like only the front? Or is this acceptable? Or are you just trying to get my goat? The 15, the CQC 15 from Emerson, a combination of his famous CQC 7 and the Commander model. And you can tell where the influence came on both angles there. Ghost Keeper says, just ordered the SRM Rubik. SRM, so that's San Renmu. Rubik ambidextrous lock mono chassis white G10 14C for $29. Crazy good deal at Chicago Knife Works right now. I'm sorry, but Chicago Knife Works always has crazy good deals. That's where I prefer to get my big crazy cold steels. They always have great prices on cold, like the best prices on cold steel. And they remind me a little bit of Midway. Midway is kind of the same. You're crazy, Bob, says Texas. No, I'm equal opportunity. I think both are great. I love Tontos. I would never say Recurves Rule Tontos drool, though maybe I could be moved to say so. I'm just kidding. I really love Tontos. So you put it on a recurve, love it. Oh, I think I'm late for the giveaway. Paul Mills says, Bob, can you show the sword on the back wall to the far right? This one or this one? My right. I'm gonna go my right. My right. This one. And if not, I'm happy to show you the other one too. Whoops. So this is a Filipino Chris, or I've heard this called something else actually, because it's got a slightly different, because it's got that straight portion there. But this was like a GI bring back from World War II. I got this at one of the 6th Avenue flea markets in New York when those existed. Not sure if they're still there. If they are, I'm sure they're not selling cool stuff like this. But I am up in the air as to whether I can tell that someone has hit this against other swords because it's got little chunks, out of the blade. But something tells me this is not. This is more ceremonial because of the handle. It's not wood. It's metal, and it's like brass, and but so I just I'm not exactly sure. It's also missing this part that comes here. There's usually like some sort of a I don't know, kind of like a retaining strap, for lack of a better term, that's metal that comes from here to here. That's missing. These right here, these little jagged, nasty parts here, not only are they great for rubbing in the face of your opponent. All right, cool. I'll show you that one in a sec. But this is meant to emulate an elephant, that little hook there. Okay, very cool. I'll put this one away since that's not what was being requested, and I'll show you that other one. This one also has a beautiful belt attached to it. Put this under the knife cam. So this one, my dad got me somewhere. I can't remember, Oman, maybe? Or I can't remember where he got this. But it was on one of his trips. My parents are on another crazy trip right now where I can't believe they went there, but it's all good. And really nice sort of metallic, or not metallic, but reflective sort of lacy stuff. This belt here is set up. The person who had this set it up so that it can go over your shoulder and be worn on the chest because of how it's kind of horizontally slung here. And the interesting thing about this is that from, I'm guessing, decades, if not more, of this being in, it still smells like incense. The belt, all of the fabric stuff smells like incense. But there it is. And believe it or not, these things are pretty comfortable in hand. But let me show you there it is. Dadgummit. Big double-edged curved blade. Let me hold it up in front of the main cam here so you can see it size-wise. It's a beauty. Anyone here know exactly what this is? I think I knew what it was at a time. I think it's a conjar. Maybe. It's very old though. And let me show you the handle real quick. The handle is this pounded silver, just patterned and beautiful. And then it's sandwiched. The wood is one solid piece, but up here it's kind of split, and the blade is, I think, burned in. Very cool. Just enough handle, nothing extra. I keep hitting everything with it. Nothing extra. It's a very small handle, and yeah, just a beautiful, beautiful knife. Thank you for noticing and asking. My dad was very proud and excited to bring this one home. So my parents have always traveled, gone to some really crazy places since I was very little, and they always brought back knives. That's probably part of why I love knives, and I got them all over this room. Oh, the Omani Conjar is actually over on that wall. I should bust that out sometime. It's cool. It's smaller, and it's got that J-shaped sheath, and it also has the belt attached to it. It's pretty cool. That one's from Oman, so I don't remember where this one is from. Vic Nilla, good to have you here, Vic. Bone Breaker keychain. Ooh, I don't know what it is, but I like the sound of it. Baton 3 Pro. Jack Wolf Knives Bionic Jack in Frost. That's the same one I have, actually. Machine Era Classic Pen and Cold Steel Kyoto. What's that? Kyoto. And Wingard Quill. So is Wingard Quill awesome carry. The Cold Steel Kyoto, is that a very new one, or is that a very old one? Something tells me it's like one of the old ones with the polished bolsters and the polished black G10 or micarta, and probably a Tanto. Yes. Okay, thanks, Jim. Always keeping me honest. Let's give this knife away. First, let me put this back in its sheath and set it down gently. That's the thing about these artifacts, that I'm gingerly with them because I don't want anything to happen to them. But they've also stood the test of time so far. And the things that start to fail, obviously, are the wooden parts, like the sheaths, especially on some of these Filipino swords. The sheaths are traditionally sandwiched wood, and they start to deteriorate. So the swords you can treat a lot more robustly than you can the sheaths. Did I say that right? Doesn't matter. All right, let's give this away. All right, hashtag knife. Who's there? Okay, Jim, how many do we have? Let's bring it up. Thank you, sir. Look at that beauty. Black, gray, red accents, anodized aluminum accents. Nice pocket clip that is deep carry and also accommodates different angled pants, if you will, or pants pockets. And then that just really cool. Is it fair to call this a clip point cleaver? Is there such thing? And if so, would it look like this? I'm thinking that's the clip. Otherwise, what would you call that? I'm not sure. All right, let's bring it up, Jim. All right, let's do this in 49 entries. Excellent. All right, 3, 2, and 1. All right, now where's it going to stop? Nobody knows. You know what I mean? So I got to say something while it's just, John the engineer, you have won, sir. John the engineer, you have won this CJRB Tigris. Very, very, very happy for you, sir. And all you others do know that I have been blessed with friends like OG Blade Reviews, who sends me boxes of knives. This is from a batch of about 20 he sent a couple months back. And yes, it is true. I will adopt one every once in a while into my collection. That's how I got the Cold Steel Spartan, or what was it? The Gladius shaped one after it was out of print. But on the whole, I give them away. He's not sending me boxes of knives. He's sending you boxes of knives. I'm just standing in the way. No, I'm the one helping you get them. I'm the facilitator, if you will. I'm the middleman. So I'm very, very happy to give this to John the engineer. Now, John the engineer, please drop your address. Just send it to me, TheKnifeJunkie@gmail.com. Send it to me. I am almost positive I will not get this out until Monday, because I have a hellacious day tomorrow. And not hard, just very, very booked and busy. So probably won't get a chance to send this out tomorrow, but definitely on Monday. Ever since Jim hit me to Pirate Ship, it's been easier for me to get these out. And actually, that's not true. He hit me to Pirate Ship years ago, but I didn't really listen to him until 2 years ago when we did the Nova One. And I could have saved myself so much money over that time. Maybe that's an advertising idea. An American father says, a Rat 7 is exactly what you suppose. All the knife you'll ever need when you have a knife, when you have to have a knife. Those Rat models are so cool. I love the 6. The thing I like about the 6 is that I know you can get it double-edged, or that the swedge sharpened, which I like that. I like when they think about folks like me who like that. Oh, looks like my webcam is going to go sometime soon. Not my webcam, but my knife cam. So I better get something under there to show. Recurves. I was talking recurves, or we are talking recurves. I'm really, oh snap, that could have been real bad. I'm really excited about this, the Decimate machete from Schrade. This has been out a while, but I only got interested in it after I watched Kali's Americana using one. He's a fantastic channel to go check out for Filipino knife fighting and other kinds of knife fighting. He just showed something about African knife fighting, which I thought was cool. But I've seen him use this to great effect. Really, what I started watching him for is his Bowie fighting knowledge. He's the dude's pretty smart and very, very good at knife fighting. So let me put this down under the knife cam while it still exists, so we have something to look at. Oh, it's so long. Doug Bull says, Bob, did you watch the movie Rob Roy with Liam Neeson? Yes, the final sword duel is a classic. I remember I watched that in college, and I remember loving it. I just don't remember it. But he does have a oh yes, and I have recently watched that. Yeah, Texas Farm Road is laughing. At the Recurves Rule thing. But yeah, Rob Roy. I've recently been watching different sword fighting scenes just that pop up in my feed. They got my number, man, over at YouTube. Victor Blades, nice to have you here, Victor. Hey, Bob, first time. I enjoy your show, Paisano. Nice to have you here, sir. By the way, Victor is a name that runs through my family. It's we've got 4 of them, all generational. So Victor is a name that's near and dear. Keep up the good work. Thank you, I shall. I'm rocking the Wolf Bionic knife. Oh, the Jack Wolf Knife Bionic Knife Center exclusive. That's the one with the purple anno handle, and my GEC number 35 cattle knife. Oh, ooh, that's one. Yeah, that's one I've always wanted, because that has the 3 tools, right? It's got a clip point and something, and it's got an awl on it, right? Doesn't it have an awl? That's very nice, man. Love that. Will B says, and Victor, nice to meet you, and it's great to have you here. Will B says, I got taken out of school in cuffs. Jeez, man. and had to go to court. The judge threw it out, but it was still annoying and probably a little bit humiliating if it wasn't like if it wasn't the opposite, if it didn't give you like massive cred at school. That's pretty humiliating. The cop waited until everyone was gone before he took me out, though. He even apologized. That's cool. That is cool. Man. I don't need to say anything. Pete Davidson says, watch The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare again the other night. Great knife scenes. Ooh, I got to see that. That's the one with Jack Reacher in it, the dude who plays Jack Reacher. And wasn't that directed by Guy Ritchie, maybe? I want to see that. Also, I'm kind of interested in World War I stuff. You don't see too much about it. There are many, many, many more movies about World War II. And I think that movie is World War I, right? James Hart says the Cold Steel Voyager has a stop pin, so it cannot over travel. Yeah. You're talking about the stop pin in the axis lock, right? Yeah, that's not going anywhere. That's just going to seat this deeper and deeper as time goes on. That stop pin is transferring all of the energy from the blade into the frame and the handle and not the lock. So that will allow that lock over time to sink deeper into the whole thing. Mike Notch, or whatever you want to call it. Mike Lisenba. Mike Lisenba, good to have you here, sir. Sorry if I butchered your name, and sorry to one and all if I'm butchering your names. I've got the Benchmade. Oh, nice 630 Skirmish on me. That's a cool knife. The Skirmish. That's a recurve, isn't it? If I'm thinking of the right thing, or is the Skirmish? The Skirmish is either a recurve or it's that Persian. Now I can't remember. Or that's no. Help me out. The Skirmish. I know it's a really hard to come by one, but is that the recurve drop point that's got 3 holes in it in the blade? They have to pay Spyderco 3 times for those 3 holes. OG Blade Review says, regarding recurves of the 3 to 4 inch persuasion, I contend that for tactical use, there is no advantage since the space is so small and the target is generally large to place the curve enough in advance. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, you got to be like pressure cutting right up. You got to be right there, right? I think that's what you're saying. Like, here's a 4-inch commander. So in order to get that to really work, you've got to be like right up. The advantage is mainly with blades of at least 6 to 7 inches to get a head start on the target, then pull through. Yep, I believe. I'm shaking my head no, but yeah, I that A makes sense to me, and B, I mean, it's coming from Dave, so I definitely trust that. It's the mullet of a Tonto. Are you kidding me? You're calling this a mullet? Is that what you mean? This is business in the front, party in the rear. Okay, I got you. Okay, yeah, I can live with that. That's funny. Pete Davidson says, does Ernest Emerson make any frame locks? Yes, he did. And Joe the Knife Whisperer stole mine and then disappeared from the scene. And not like he stole that in another Emerson and then disappeared from the scene. I have a feeling he didn't steal it. He stole it long enough to sell it. But yeah, and then he disappeared from the scene. I know he did that to other people too. But yes, it was a really cool one called the Iron Dragon. Very, very. It was a tribute knife to Bustillo, whose first name I can't remember. Very, very famous Kali instructor who I think was buddies with Bruce Lee back in the day and was one of Ernie Emerson's teachers and highly regarded. And he designed such a beautiful recurve frame lock. It would be out on this table tonight if Joe, that SOB, didn't steal it from me. Brown Sugar, good to have you here. Brown Sugar 0069. Hello at the Knife Junkie. Well, hello. It's great to have you here. I don't recognize your name. It's always awesome to have new people I don't recognize. So good to have you here. Brown Sugar 0069. Craig Vincent says, truth. 75% of my 100 plus cold steels came from either Chicago Knife Works or Midway USA. Yeah, They are the best, aren't they? However, some of the models I have to order directly from Cold Steel, which is never fun and always more costly. Why is it not fun? Do they have pain in the ass customer service? I feel like that might be the case. I feel like someone here has actually said that. Paul Mills, I want the 1918 U.S. trench knife with the knuckles, like what Bob has on his back wall. Yes, you do. This thing is awesome, and it went through a number of well, different manufacturers made it, but it also went through a couple of different knuckle variations. And while I was just home not too long ago for a very dear friend's dad's funeral, may he rest in peace. My brother, I stayed with my brother, and he showed me he got a 1918 for himself because he got this one for me. And he also got himself a Fairbairn Sykes. He also got me my Fairbairn Sykes. So he's catching up. But this thing, I'll show it here. So my brother's knuckles don't have the points. They're pointed, but they don't have these little like nipple-like points. You know what I mean? They kind of they're slightly less rounded here, and maybe there's slightly less of a curve here. It's hard to explain, but it's a little less. I mean, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't want to get punched in the face with any of them or punched anywhere. John the engineer, you are welcome, sir. It is my pleasure. Just make sure you give me your address at TheKnifeJunkie.com, at TheKnifeJunkie@gmail.com. This thing also is, these are the most comfortable knuckles I've ever put on my hands. And they are second, or they are, this is second to this, is what I'm saying. I always talk about these delicious fit or spooky, what's the hell these called? Spooky pockets. That's right. The spooky pockets, delicious fist, I think is part of that. They fit so good, so well. They feel so good in hand, but nothing feels better than the 1918. And I think it's the way they're angled, the way the fingers are angled. Also, these were made before bovine growth hormone was in all of our milk and people started growing giant, you know? So it just fits my hand better than a lot of bigger knuckles that spread my pinky finger a little too far. This, I feel like I could be in the trenches all day long with this. And I don't mean to make light of that because that sounds like a miserable hell. Caesar Cesar, Microtech Amphibian. Yes, sir. Well, first of all, good to have you here, sir. Or is it Cesar? Anyway, it's very good to have you here. And yeah, this is the tops. I love it. And by the tops, I don't mean tops. I mean, it's the best. I love it. OG Blade Reviews says, by the way, I didn't carry today until I got home, courtesy of TSA. Those bastages. Had the Kunwu Django. Oh, that is a freaking beautiful knife. Waiting in the mail. Oh, I love that. Since you brought up the amphibian, and congratulations, on getting home safely, because if you flew on a plane, I got to just say congratulations every time it's survived these days, unfortunately, but also on your new purchase. These two together, yeah, I see similarities there. OG Blade Review says, thanks for being the facilitator, Bob. Love offering up blades to get new homes. Yeah, well, thank you for being the supplier. Cesar super sticker. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, I'm going to salute you, sir. I'm going to salute you. Wow, this is 3D chess here because we were just talking with Dave, and I'm going to salute you with a knife that Dave got me for my birthday this August. Also from Traditional Filipino Weapons, the company down, the Connecticut Filipino company. But as you know, this is not a Filipino knife. This is a Nepalese kukri and their version of it. So traditional Filipino weapons, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, started branching out. They don't only do a huge variety of Filipino weapons. Now they do some European weapons, some historical swords, and knives like this, the kukri. So Cesar, thank you so much. This goes to you, and look at that, man. Look at that. That's your swim by. It's like a great white shark. Just like, I don't know. Should I? Not too tasty. I'll find something with more meat. This thing, by the way, oh my gosh. Answer the door with this and see what happens. Autumn Wind says, good night, all. Autumn Wind, have a lovely evening and a great weekend. Don't forget, it's Thursday, the start of the weekend. So great to have you here tonight and enjoy. Mike says, yes, but 4 holes. Okay, 4 holes. That, the skirmish, the Benchmade skirmish. Ooh, that is sweet. Who designed that? Someone famous, I think, designed that. But I love that knife. I love the shape of that blade. Like that's my kind of drop point. That the shape of that blade reminds me a little bit of the Walter Brend Model 2, which is one of my favorite all-time drop point designs. It's got a recurve down on the bottom and sort of a recurve on the top, though the top is not sharp. It's not just straight and then down. It also has a swell and a swale, and it just looks so cool. Craig Vincent, Bob, I know the feeling. The victor in my family is Ed. It's like that Goodfellas scene. This is Petey, and this is Paul, and this is my cousin Paul, and his son Pete, and all the ladies are Marie. My older brother was an Ed. My younger brother is Ed, and my older brother was an Ed. My younger brother is an Ed, and my nephew is Ed. Every Tom, Dick, or Harry in my family is an Ed. That's awesome. Yeah, in my family, it's followed up by Roberts, but 3 Roberts to 4 Victors, I guess. It's that the Roberts were never all together at once, whereas when the family got together, the Cleveland contingent were all the Victors. So we'd be be dinner at Grandma's house on Sunday, and there would be Victors scattered all over the house, and my mom or my grandma would call out Vic, and you'd have like 4 people. What? Paul Mills says, I love the 1918 trench. Beautiful design. Yes, it is. It is a really beautiful design. Gilly's Customs for Knuckles. Oh, says Texas Farm. Okay, I have a new. So this is what I'm going to do from now on. Can you put that back up? I'm just going to take a picture of it, and that way I'll remember it. Instead of writing on my computer, which has now got so many notes on it, that I figure I'll just take pictures from now on. Doug Bull says, I carried today for just 30 minutes your Forrest Bowie to the UPS. Oh, man, Doug, thank you so much, man. I cannot wait. Woo, can't wait to add to my Bowie collection, especially one that is relatively exotic. You don't hear much about it. You don't see them. They're not as, I don't want to say compelling. That's not what I mean. They're not as common as just the regular clip point. So I'm really psyched to see that. Cesar says, I'm stoked to be here. I salute you back, sir. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I feel it. Okay. This I'm going to put over here. A lot of weapons on the table, or tools. Speaking of Doug, this is one that I have on my desk at all times now. Doug Bowles sent me this. This is the K-Bar Eck model, the Eck 44. Just so you know, it's not EK, it's Eck. John Eck was a dude, and so it's not. They're not initials. It's just a very short name. But this is the Commando knife, and K-Bar now makes these, and they're so cool. You got that S guard there. You have almost like a Scandi ground edge, but it's very sharp. There's a relief edge there, but as you can see, it's a very shallow and steep grind. But man, it is wickedly sharp. Plus, you've got a very, very stout and sturdy tip for thrusting, which is what this is for. And a cool thing, I know this kind of stuck in Doug's craw here, but it's got a nice long handle. And ordinarily, you don't hear me say that because I'm a stickler for handle to blade ratios. And in this case, I always thought visually it looked a little too long. Doug confirmed that because he wanted to be carrying this kind of kind of on his person daily, and found that the handle was too large to do so. But since I got it, I realized you can use and hold this knife in a Filipino grip with the thumb up there. And it really enhances, well, what does it enhance? I guess your strength is whatever you might want to use that for. It also gives you room to have a saber grip with plenty of room. Let me go over here so you can see. So this long handle actually seems to have a purpose. It's not just like someone went crazy with the dimensions, or the guy who designed it has like Andre the Giant hands. It's very cool because it has this protruding tang long enough to knock a noggin or to pry. You could definitely pry with that, or open a bottle of beer. Perfect surface for that. Though I wouldn't do that because I don't want to mar the coating, which I'm not sure what it is. It's not Cerakote. I'm not sure what the coating is on this. I think it's DLC. Only in New York, baby. I need more K-bars in my life. I would love to get that Big Brother K-bar designed by Doug Markida. That's a cool one. Oh, I got to show you some knives before I dip out of here. Couple of. I showed you the mat, which I love very, very much. That is new. And 2 new knives. One of them mine and one of them not. This one is very cool. This is from a new company called Pepperwool. And as a matter of fact, last night I interviewed Baron McKay of Pepperwool, and it was such a great conversation. He's a brilliant dude. Like you know how sometimes you talk to someone and you become you become extremely aware that if that person were to go down a rabbit hole, you'd be completely out of your depth. He's that guy. Very, very fun to talk to. Very interesting guy who's very knowledgeable in all the hard sciences that I just don't get. But if this looks kind of familiar, he used to be head designer and then the head designer during SOG's rebranding. He was there for about 15 years and solved a lot of problems, and then started designing a lot of knives. And then SOG, I don't know if you know this, but a couple of years back now, right after their rebranding, they sold to GSM, and their interest in kind of keeping up with the revivification of SOG kind of dropped off. So he left, and I'll let you listen to the interview to get the rest of it. But I have fallen in love with this little knife. It's teeny tiny, and it fits in my back left pocket perfectly. It's a 3-finger knife for sure. It's right up there with like the Baby Rhino from Off Grid Knives. Is just a really excellent, super robust. I mean, it's small and thin, but it's super robust so far. So it kind of fits in that category of knife. A little big knife. This is the Merino MM. Look at that. A beautiful blue, not totally not into colored blades. But something about this is just beautiful to me. That's what is that? A titanium coating, did he say? Or maybe that's, I don't know. I talked to so many people. I don't remember anything. Green liners or green backspacer with that Merino or that Pepperwool logo. Very, very cool knife. Check them out. They just went live. So pepperwool.com. Really sweet little knife. So very psyched about this one. And then this one, my wife's aunt, who's really awesome. My wife's family is great. She asked me to get her son a knife, and I'm sure he's not watching. So Rico, if you're watching this, close your eyes and turn the channel. But this is the new Microtech Ultratech in that beautiful Tonto. I love that Tonto blade. That is Texas. This is a nice Tonto blade right here. I love that shape. Just beautiful and really sharp, as you expect from Microtech. But he works in healthcare, and I figured to get the red, sorry about that, to get the red would be the way to go, because it looks like a piece of kit more than a weapon, maybe. And if he's driving around with this, figured, I don't know, he's a young dude, and I figured this might look a little less weapony. I don't know. Am I totally off? Am I just like in my own echo chamber to the point where this doesn't look like a weapon to me because it's got a red handle? probably. But oh, so nice. I love the new glass breaker. It looks really cool. And compared to mine, which is, 10 years old at this point, the ease of use is there. This is way easier to actuate than my old Microtech. And I'm using my left hand, which is not as strong as my right hand, and it's easy. My that's M390. My other one, I can barely use in the left hand. It's just a much stouter spring. So it's tempting. I wish this one were mine, but it's not. So I have to put it back in the bag and put it back in the box and give it to him. I think I'm giving it to him this weekend, or she's giving it to him this weekend. So I got to give it to her. But it's kind of fun to be a knife buyer for people. I don't know if you've ever done that, but it happens from time to time. And I always like that. It was fun to stand there and look through the Knife Center catalog. Which one? And she's like, I like that. Todd Carr says, SOG, Cold Steel, and Camillus all under GSM now. Yeah. I mean, Cold Steel has been good so far, but I hear rumblings. People are dissatisfied. I've heard things about their customer service and other stuff too. GSM SOG, very sad. Yeah, but one thing, Have a Knife Day, this is a little bit of cold comfort. SOG got sad a long time ago. As soon as they stopped making their stacked leather handle combat classics, as far as I'm concerned, that's when they went big box store, and yeah, it's a sad situation. Texas Farm Road says, love my Microtech Uni Tango Tanto. I'm not sure what the Uni Tango part is, but Tonto, I know you love your Tontos. That's cool. Come back next week and I'll have some Tontos up here. You know what? I don't have enough, actually. I don't like fixed blades. I think I have one Tonto fixed blade. I mean, that is pathetic. Jeez, Bob. Todd Carr says, red will make it stand out more for sure. Yeah, it'll make it stand. Yeah, I know there is that. But I also wanted it to look like, if he's on an ambulance or something, like it belongs there. Like it's not just like, oh, I'm just carrying my random automatic weapon knife. But yeah, it will stand out. So who knows? Hopefully I didn't do him a disservice, but can you really do a disservice by getting someone a Microtech? Ultratech, Bob. Oh, okay. What did I say? Uni. Oh, was it a fat thumb? Doug Bull says, so sad. Never sidewinders again. Nope. But I got mine. Thanks to you, Doug. Thank you so much for that. I love that. SOG sidewinder. Too cool. But also those, man, they had so many good knives, so many good fixed blades back in the day. The desert dagger was cool. I think that's what they called it. But just all of the ones that Nut and Fancy had with the stacked leather handles. I would love to have Nut and Fancy on this show. I think he's impossible to reach personally. But I would like to have him on just to talk to him because I watched him for so long back in the day, but also to thank him in a lot of ways. We wouldn't be here without him, or maybe we would be, but he's one of the guys who really, really, really started it, if not the guy. And that is, knife channels on YouTube. Craig Vincent says, Bob, get the Cold Steel GI Tonto Fixie. Best $25 ever spent. Ooh. Oh, you don't say. Oh, I do have let's see, I have the regular Tonto from back in the day, and I have the Coben. That's a good one. That's a really good one. But you're talking about the little one. I know what you're talking about, and it's a good looking knife too. Oh, BattleBox. Any of you guys have BattleBox? Well, you can get it through here through our affiliate, but I would love to check that out. One of these days, maybe I will. But I always watch Cutlery Lovers BattleBox unboxings, and I'm like, what would I do with all that stuff? There's a lot of random stuff in there. Though I have been beefing up my survival kit ingredients and stuff. There's just a lot. So maybe I would be better off doing like just a knife subscription I think that's a great way to spend my money. It's just a knife. Just send me random knives and I'll pay for them. All right. Doug Bowl says, Bob, have a safe and secure weekend. Got to scoot. As do I, sir. Thank you so much, Doug, for not only coming here, but for being so generous. Doug is a Gentleman Junkie patron, and he's also sent me 2 really outstanding knives. One of them that you can't get. We were talking the SOG Sidewinder. That is go check them out on eBay, see if you can find one, and then see if you want to pay for it. So he's extremely generous and cool. Thank you so much, Doug. You have a safe and secure weekend yourself, sir. Todd Carr says, have a few Tonto fixed blades, but still prefer a drop point for general use or a clip point. Hey, what about Tontos for camping and outdoor stuff? Anyone? That you never see anyone do that. I wonder if that's a thing. Have a knife, have a knife night, have a knife day, you know what I mean. Have a knife night, sir, and a knife weekend, and let us know how the March goes. Yeah. Well, I think that's going to do it for us. Coming up on Sunday, episode 551 of the Knife Junkie podcast, Baron McKay of Pepperwool, the company I was just talking about here. Got to check that one out. It's a great conversation, and he's just a cool dude, and very, very smart, like I said, and engineer and physicist dude. So dude, I didn't have to put that there. Engineer and physicist, and does really, really cool designs as well. I ordered the Ops Hawk from TKL. Ooh, very nice. I need to order something from them. Night, Byron, says Wilby. I mean, it's been a while since I've gotten a new TKL. Paul Mills, good night, guys and gals. Paul Mills, have a great night. Thank you for the comments. John Tagomori, nice to have you here, John. Later, all, have a great weekend. You too, John. Thanks for joining us, sir. And John, the engineer, also, don't forget, mailing address. I'll get this thing out to you as soon as possible, which will probably be Monday. But thanks so much. Craig Vincent, GI Tonto has a 7-inch blade and is great for outdoor stuff. Oh, okay. The one that looks like the K-bar. Okay. Cool. Thanks for the 411, as we used to say back in the 90s. 411 was information line. Or Brown Sugar says, good night, everybody. Enjoy your evening. Thank you, Brown Sugar. You enjoy your evening as well, and your weekend, because the weekend starts here. All right, everybody. For Jim working his magic behind the switcher, I'm Bob DeMarco saying, until next time, don't take dull for an answer.